basically it says everything you went over in the WHO document.
And I think you've got it backwards, sir. It went through Congress, which is the House, and is now going through the Senate. It doesn't go vice versa.
Well, in the Massachusetts, it already passed in the Senate.
You're saying that it went through the state Senate in Massachusetts?
I'm talking about a state bill.
Okay, all right, my bad.
Yeah, it's called S-2028.
Okay.
And as a direct result of Mass LPA's lobbying, we've actually been able to actually get some of these senators who have voted for it to issue statements saying that they will not support it in the fall, and that they're and so we've actually had some good positive responses as a result of our work. Not so much me personally, but a lot of our members out west, especially in Western Mass, have done a lot of great work. Some people out in Boston. We're all divided up in a district, and I would urge your callers in Massachusetts to go to masslpa.org, join up, download the flyers and the trifolds we have, and get involved in this thing, because it looks like they are trying to do something here.
Well, sir, we have the website up on the prisonplanet.tv right now, and I thank you for the call. I do urge everybody in that area to alert your neighbors, and this does look like a good organization and a great way to get the word out, because, they're trying, again, the guy was asking me, well, what do I do? Well, they're going to try to claim international law, but they're building the infrastructure so it's also state law. It's federal law, okay? Local government's going to come at you. They want all of their bases covered. They want to be able to claim multiple jurisdictions over you. Look, you're your own jurisdiction. You're your own free human being. You're your own entity. Your child is yours. It is not the state's. All right, you need to know what to do and how to step up to the plate and take action if this hysteria turns into much, much more. And they're spending billions and billions of dollars in infrastructure to make sure that it is much, much more. All right, let's go to Jeff in Texas. Jeff, you're on the line.
Hi, Jason. Quick bit of swine flu news in the magazines. I was downtown Austin at the Whole Foods World Headquarters, and on the magazine rack was an audaciously named magazine called Mental Floss, a magazine for thinkers. The magazine was a joke, but what I want to point out was that there was a big article titled How to Win Friends and Inoculate People. And it was all about how the U.S. Navy is going to be sending their hospital ships out to foreign ports, not with soldiers and guns, but with nurses and doctors and vaccinations.
Oh, it's because, again, it's a lot easier for people to line up to roll up their sleeves than to line up at a shooting range and be gunned down. Yeah, does it take, 10 or 20 years to take them out with a soft kill weapon? It does, but we're willing to be that patient if they're willing to be that docile and come over and say, please give me the sickness. I thank you for the call, Jeff. Let's go to Arthur in Massachusetts. Arthur, you're on the line.
I already said Alex broke in with my first one. I left with a call there. The next one here is the CDC, their definition for the novel H1N1 flu. It's novel. It broke out, April 2009 in the U.S. Well, and it refers to, scientists call this a quadruple reassortment virus. Come from 4 different things. I think when you mentioned it before, it's like 3 different ways.
Well, let me say 3, because I believe it's 2 parts H1N1, 1 part H5N1, and 1 part human flu. So I guess if you want to break it down, it is 4, but it's 2 parts of swine flu, 1 part bird flu, 1 part human flu, correct?
There's 4 separate parts.
So which one is the 4th? Are you saying that what's the 4th separate part? If it's not,
you can get it right. This is what the CDC's definition, what they have on their site, which is very interesting. And what this lets me to get, with this thing being actually, you had the antivirus that came up years ago, where they got the patent coming on it. That's kind of serious. Like they released that. Well, what do they really have to release? If that was the preliminary.
Well, you know what? Let's go over, I thank you for the call, what they originally said. They said, this is, coming from Mexico. It's pig flu. We need to worry. Then they couldn't find any pigs with it in Mexico. Then the first case of a pig having this quote-unquote swine flu virus occurred in Canada. And then they tried to blame it on this Mexican migrant worker that made it all the way up there. Now, when this little CFR queen went on the Colbert Report, and we got to pull that one too. Look for Colbert and swine flu. It's that woman that had the cover of Newsweek with the piggy sticking out, and she calls Lou Dobbs a racist, and then she says that the swine flu didn't come from Mexico. And I don't believe it did come from Mexico, but then she doesn't allude to where it really did come from. She tries to say the United States, but they didn't find any pigs with swine flu in the United States. It's complete made-up nonsense. And, of course, she's fear-mongering that everybody needs to take this thing. All right? So she's on the Council on Foreign Relations. She wants everybody to take the shot. She calls Lou Dobbs a racist. She makes fun of, I believe it was the head of Health and Human Services in India or something like that, something very close. This person in India thinks the government did it. Or the Jews. They love throwing the J word around. You know, this woman had nothing to do with saying the Jews did the swine flu. No, she said, this looks like a bioweapon made up in a lab. You're not allowed to say that.
Direct to you and in your face. You're listening to the Alex Jones Broadcasting Network.
We are back, folks. It is the swine flu extravaganza here on the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. We're taking your calls. And before we go to Sherry in Texas, Mark, Travis, Dave, and Lee, I want to read this one out of New York. York Education. Rally to host flu shots. Serve as an emergency drill. Yes! The clinic will also serve as a live drill for the city's point of distribution plan. This is as real as you can make a drill, said David L. Hawk, the City Bureau of Health's medical director. This would also have all York residents responding to William Penn Senior High School. The county is working on plans in other school districts. The Office of Emergency Management in York County said that schools were chosen as sites because people are familiar with their locations and they have bus routes. Bus routes. See, they can just bust you in. You get that knock on the door from your local National Guard. Hey now, guy, you know, he's going to come there. Hey, ma'am, how you doing? Look, we're just rounding everybody up for the swine flu. We got the bus there, and it looks like, according to my paperwork, that you haven't taken your shot yet. I'd like you to go get your 4-month-old baby and your husband if you could, and we're going to get on this little bus here. Don't worry, everything will be over in just a couple of hours. It'll be very, very quick. This is the first live drill that will take place September 19th, and thought of using the plan to distribute the swine flu shot everywhere if needed. We are in this drill on September 19th. They're looking to do a minimum of 1,000 shots. Meanwhile, it has mercury in it, and it gives people Gillian's Bear. And Gillian's Bear, folks, as weird, and I mean, it sounds kind of like Wade Boggs. You know, if Wade Boggs wasn't a person, it's kind of Gillian Bear. You know, just like this crazy disease that you don't want. You don't know how crazy it is. I would rather be dead than be a quadriplegic. Okay? If I can't use my arms and I can't use my legs and the only thing that's running is my mouth, it will be a cold day in hell for Jason Bermas. I don't think I could live like that, folks. I really don't. We'll get to some of the other local articles in a moment, but let's go to Sherry in Texas. Sherry online. Yes, Sherry.
I called C-SPAN on June 29th when they had Peter Brooks on from the Heritage Foundation, and apparently he's like some kind of bioweapons expert, and I asked him about the Baxter incident, and he totally, of course, denied knowledge of it and said that the problems with bioweapons, and then he changed it and said biotechnology is that it's so pervasive. And then another woman called in right after that and reminded him of the Department of Defense receiving money to dig up the 1918 flu to, basically reconstruct it, And then Dr. Carley called in and gave him the real facts about it and gave us a reference to another video that PBS did that had Terrence Tumpy from the CDC literally pretty much admitting that he wanted to take the H5 component of avian flu, which is super deadly, and then put it in with the H1 from the H1N1 swine flu.
No, I've seen that. That's the PBS that's what, from the 90s, right? That PBS special's from the 90s where they're discussing it.
In 2002, it really started taking off, though. The real research did, because I think they've done 2 expeditions, I think, to dig it up.
Look, this CFR woman on Colbert trying to claim that pigs are mixing vessels, and that
that's ridiculous.
And not only is it ridiculous, she also tries to claim that pigs in the United States are the ones that originated the swine flu. We don't have one case of a pig in the United States having it.
We haven't had a single case of that.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's like Munchausen syndrome. It's like Munchausen syndrome, when someone has Munchausen syndrome by proxy, they hurt their children to get attention or to get what they want, by using their child. And I think the government's kind of doing that with us right now.
No, they're absolutely
like
doing that with us.
Syndrome.
Yeah, it is a lot like that, only they're also going to make a profit on top of it. I thank you, Sherry. And you know what? Let's get into that right now. This is on MSN Money. Let's see. Mayan Labs going to make a profit. Teva Pharmaceuticals, Sanofi Aventis, Novavax Incorporated, BioCryst Pharmaceuticals, and others going to make quite a bit on this. And, some of these articles are also saying, hey, take the Tamiflu as well, even though they admit the Tamiflu ain't going to help you one little bit. It's about the scratch and the power, baby. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas.